Okay, before we get into this next episode, we got just a tiny bit of business to talk about. For those of you who've been patiently waiting for our wheel sale for tacos t-shirts, they're officially available at svadventurer.com. If you got a quick minute, check it out. There's some pretty sweet stuff on there. But you may be wondering what the point of these things are, other than the fact that this shirt is pretty awesome. Well, in this episode, you'll see briefly, but while we were out surfing, my last waterproof camera died. This is the third camera I've been through in the last month, which brings the grand total of gear that's been used for these videos to 9 cameras, 2 drones, 3 microphones, 2 computers, and 4 hard drives, which equals a whole lot of boat bucks that we never really planned on. So, I need some new ones of these, and I gotta figure out how to pay for them without dipping into our cruising fund. So that brings you into the picture and some pretty sweet gear. So we need to sell some t-shirts to buy me some new cameras so I can show you around a little bit. So that's that. If you got a minute, go check out svadventurer.com. Pick up some pretty sweet gear. Thanks for watching. Talk to you later. In our last episode, we took a little tour of my friend's boat and then made a short hop farther up the coast to Ixtapa. This time around, we spend a handful of days having fun in the sun in Ixtapa before making another run to catch up with some friends farther north. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, Brenda. You're awake. It's a miracle. Brenda's been lazy today. She's been sleeping. But we made it to Isla Grande last night. Actually, we got here yesterday afternoon and went for a swim because the water here is great. This is just outside the town of Ixtapa, which, if you've never been down here before, it's a resort town. It's high-rise hotels, restaurants, trinket shops, that sort of thing. In the early 70s, this area was built up on the site of an old coconut plantation. The Mexican government saw the value of tourism and they bought up the land, built a big resort town, and it's still a pretty popular place to come. But the big drawback here for us as sailors and cruisers is the anchorage gets pretty rowdy during the day. Isla Grande is a pretty hot spot for tourists to come visit, and during the day, water taxis from the mainland shoot across to the island all day long. It's kind of chaotic. And beyond that, there's jet skis, wave runners, the big parachute things flying around. It's a rowdy spot to anchor your boat. But right before the sun goes down, this place gets flat calm. Everybody disappears, and then it's just our little island. So the trick with this place for us is to get off the boat and get out of here during the heart of the day while all the chaos is going on. So, gonna finish up our coffee, go to town, roam around and do tourist stuff. So, we flagged down one of those water taxis, we grabbed our friends Jason and Jen, and we got off the boats during the heart of all the chaos. Just outside the main hub of Ixtapa, there's Playa Linda. And yes, it's got its hordes of restaurants and trinket stands, but it's still got a pretty nice laid-back feel.
I got pecans. Can you put those in my bag?
Just up from the beach, there's a maze of wildlife-filled estuaries. And when they tell you to watch out for crocodiles, well, they're serious. And living with those crocs, there's some other interesting critters too. But yeah, they're serious. Watch out for the crocs. And from Playa Linda, it's only about a 10-minute bus ride to the main hub of Ixtapa. And once you get to Ixtapa, that's where you'll find its main draw. a nice long sandy beach, and it's pretty amazing. Well, the big reason I wanted to come here to Ixtapa was for surfing. Surf's up! It's just a quick, not even a 5-minute dinghy ride from the anchorage to the surf break. So, got my PB&J, floaty shades, big hat. We're off! Now we're off! Grabbing Jason. And we're out! And for the first surf session of the season, after having a handful of months off and being completely out of surfing shape, this old body didn't do half bad. All right, surfing, pretty fun. And for the first time out this year, gotta admit, we looked pretty great. Actually, mostly flailed around. Had quite a few good spills, but it's still pretty fun. But the bad news, this is it, my last GoPro. This is GoPro number 3. This is my backup to my backup. And it died. No more waterproof cameras, which is a bummer, because most of what we do involves water. But the good news, dinner's gonna be great!
I'm making tamarind paste. We're gonna have pad thai. One of the big reasons we travel is to experience culture, and part of every culture is food. We love food. One thing I really like to do is making things from scratch. Tamarind grows on trees down here. It's really easy to find, and it's one of the main ingredients for pad thai. So we picked some so we can have pad thai tonight with our friends. So here we are making tamarind paste, and it's going to be delicious. So it starts as a pod. You soak it in water, separate the seeds so you can get tamarind paste. It's delicious, which is why we're going through such effort to make it.
And with that tamarind paste and a recipe she got from a little lady while we were roaming around in Thailand, Brenda can make a pretty mean pad thai.
Tamarind!
With some extra chili peppers for added heat and some good friends, dinner is served.
No, it's just right.
And it's pretty amazing. But after a quick few days at Isla Grande, it was time for us to move on. again. We left Isla Grande in Ixtapa at about 4 o'clock this morning, which was really early. That's hard to get up at 4. But we're headed ultimately to Barra de Navidad, which is about a 2-day passage. Whether or not we'll do this on one straight run or make a couple of day hops, we haven't really figured that out yet. We've got some anchorages along the way that I think we're kind of shooting for, but it all depends on weather and sea state. They're anchorages on this part of the coast. They're not very protected, they're just wide open roadsteads, so we'll kind of have to play it by ear once we get to them to see if they're, well, see if we can stop there or not. If not, we'll just keep pushing through. Right now we got about 3 knots of breeze, so we're motoring, and that's going to be the way it goes for pretty much this whole morning. Breeze should start to fill in off the beam early afternoon, which would be great, so we can get to sailing. But of course, along with us, there's Jason and Jen. They're about a mile off to starboard. They actually peeled out of the anchorage as we were making coffee, so they got a little jump on us, but it's just motoring, so it's not really a race. Not until the sails go up, and then I'm gunning for them. But it's actually not too bad out right now. We got, there's about a 4-foot swell, so nothing major, but we are going right into it. One of the best things, I had to put on a jacket. That's pretty great. I know some of you are sitting at home freezing in a big cold spell. It's been blazing hot down here. Wearing a jacket's kind of nice once in a while. Feels pretty good. It's gonna be short-lived though. As soon as the sun's up, it'll be blazing hot again.
Because Brenda was down below attempting to get some sleep, I had to take fishing into my own hands. With that amazingly clear water, we made some friends that made it pretty easy to sit around and pass the time. Luckily for me, the droning sound of the diesel engine would soon be a thing of the past. There was a slight breeze picking up, which meant it was time to get serious.
Good news, we're sailing, finally! And everybody knows that means we're racing. Got about 7 knots or so on the beam. We're doing about 5 knots. Not too bad, especially for this old boat. And Jason and Jen, they're about 1.5 miles over there, just off our starboard side. We're neck and neck, but we're both sailing, and that means we're racing. It's gonna be a good one.
But unfortunately, that nice gentle breeze and our race of epic proportions, it would only last for a handful of hours.
Well, bad news. Unfortunately, the wind petered out. But we did pass Jason and Jen before it died. I'm counting that as a win. So on this section of coastline, we had actually thought about making a few little day hops going north and stopping at some of these little remote, somewhat unprotected anchorages because they're pretty cool.
But unfortunately, there's been a bit of a swell that's been building over the last couple of hours. It's fairly large, fairly steep, and that makes those little anchorages pretty rough. So unfortunately, we're not going to really be able to stop at those this time around, and we're just going to have to keep pushing on. But that also means that the next protected anchorage, it's about 24 hours away, and there's no wind and not much forecasted. So really that means we're going to be motoring for about the next 24 hours. That's what we're stuck with. It's a motor fest.
And so, for roughly the next 24 hours, we listened to the drone of the diesel engine and uncomfortably bounced our way farther north up the coast of Mexico. And after all of that, we made it here, Barra de Navidad, which could be the flattest, most comfortable anchorage that I know of on the entire Pacific side of Mexico. But that's about it for this episode. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.